Okay, we are back with George Alexandris and Dr. David Epstein, who performed the surgery on George's Achilles rupture. And I know it was hard to relive that experience, but now we're kind of in that recovery phase, the surgery phase that you had with Dr. Epstein. Dr. Epstein, can you talk a little bit about George's injury, the severity of it, and what you saw repairing the injury?
Sure. So my name is David Epstein. I'm an orthopedic surgeon over at Tri-County Orthopedics. We're based out of Morristown, right down the road here. So I first met George a few days after the injury. He was referred by Dr. Martins and the team over here at Atlantic Health. He had come with an X-ray and an MRI with a diagnosis of an acute Achilles tendon rupture. It was explained to me that George was a high-level athlete, which of course he was, and I had soon to come to know that he had previously won the D3 national championships in long jump, jumping 26 feet, right?
Yeah.
George came to me with an acute Achilles rupture, and what was unusual about his injury was that he tore his Achilles tendon right off of the calcaneus. Most Achilles tendon ruptures that we see in these high-level athletes are mid-substance. He had torn his right off the calcaneus bone, which is unusual, but also, does impart a bit of, expertise and knowledge in terms of diagnosis, treatment, and specifically how to treat this kind of injury.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Well, it was amazing because the surgery was a huge success,
Yeah,
right?
definitely.
And the recovery process was a huge success. Why don't you talk us through that recovery process, George, and how Dr. Martins and the team, the Atlantic Health team, kind of helped guide you through that process, and obviously referring you to such a great surgeon in Dr. Epstein, and then following that.
Sure, yeah. So Dr. Epstein was a big part in how I recovered and the approach I took. So not only did he recommend a nice PT area for me to go to along the way through the surgery and after the surgery, he was able to be there for me and answer any questions I had, like, is this normal? I'm feeling this pain. Should I be feeling this way? Is range of motion to this degree normal at this time and post-surgery? And so all these little questions you have as a patient, and especially me as an athlete, knowing a lot about sports and knowing a lot about training that I had, I was able to absorb more knowledge from Dr. Epstein and his team. So post-surgery, asking a lot of questions for me was key, and having a reliable source from Dr. Epstein and his team was the important part, and that's what kind of glued things together for me.
Yeah. And where are you now? Like, talk to us a little bit now about your training. And,
Yeah.
You're kind of back running 25 miles an hour on the treadmill again,
Yeah.
and, you're pretty much just about fully recovered. So talk to some athletes out there that may have had devastating injuries and the importance of, I guess, taking it slow and being, the progression and not overdoing it early on. I'm sure the guidance from Dr. Epstein, Dr. Martins, the team, really helped you kind of manage that process. Talk us through that process. What advice would you give to other athletes out there that have had injuries like this or other injuries?
Sure, yeah. So grievance is going to be the first thing that you're probably going to feel. Like, I thought the world was ending, because you live in this small little world where track and field for me was my identity, and it was my form of expression. It was what I did every single day. I thought about it, I trained. And so taking that skill or that talent away from you can be difficult, whether it be football or soccer, whatever sport you may play.
Mm-hmm.
You'll go through a grievance phase, but the biggest thing for you to do is to bounce back and be resilient. And it sounds way more complicated, right? Obviously, but supporting yourself with the right team of professionals, your family, your friends, keeping positive energy around you is key. And absorbing as much knowledge as you can from a professional is what you have to do. Because for me, I understand training. I know how to train, how to work up to a meet, but I have no idea how to rehabilitate, especially something this severe. So for me, as an athlete, it was important for me to find information from a professional like Dr. Epstein, even Bill and his team, and find different ways how to, adapt and regain ability in my leg. So finding a team and people who are knowledgeable is the most important part, because they will hold you accountable and put you in the right direction instead of feeling lost like you will feel in the beginning.
Yeah. And I think that's what you did so well in having such a great supporting cast like Dr. Epstein, Dr. Martins, the Atlantic Health Group here. It was imperative, for your comeback. And you're a guy that's a go-getter. and you take this information and you maximize it, right?
Right.
And I think that is the message we want to give to those other athletes out there. You can't sit still. You're either getting better or you're getting worse. Even from an injury standpoint, right away, surgery, we got it done. We diagnosed it. We got focused on getting better.
Right.
Focused on getting better. And if you have that mentality, you're going to make a comeback, just like George has. Made a strong comeback, building it back up, going to eventually compete again. Now he's coaching. I mean, a lot of great things going on in your life. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
You've taken
definitely.
that next step, overcoming this. So, that's the message. I don't know if you guys wanted to add any closing remarks, Dr. Epstein, anything
I will
to share?
say that it's been remarkable what George has been able to do, and there's no question when treating athletes, it's a different level of patient compliance and dedication. And when I treat an athlete, especially a high-level athlete, I know that they're going to work on the back end,
Yeah.
right? I'm there to guide them, but his rehab and the way he was able to rehabilitate is remarkable. He may think it was slow, but he came back very quickly, and he was well ahead of where most patients are because of that dedication to training, and that's normal for him. That's the way he trained his whole life. If you apply that to a post-injury, post-surgical setting, you can absolutely get back to where you want to be and then beyond, right?
Absolutely.
Interacting with high-level athletes, world-class athletes, from my standpoint, just makes my job so much easier and makes a surgeon look good, right?
Yeah.
When you've got a dedicated high-level athlete who's a
Yeah.
patient, it's a pleasure to take care of you. So great job. I know you worked really hard to get back, and I'm really proud of you.
I appreciate that, Doc.
Yeah, my
Thank
pleasure.
Yeah, and I think that's the takeaway message, guys. If
Yeah.
you have that mentality to work
Yeah.
hard, find the right team, and you're going to get back. You're going to recover. The body is a very resilient organism. It will respond to the proper stresses, and having the right team to help guide you is what it's all about, and George took full advantage of that. So, guys, thanks so much for taking the time today.
Thank you, Bill.
Really great stuff. Hopefully this is motivational for people out there that are injured or recently got injured or had injuries in the past, that you can find your way back on top.